Hello dear student, in yesterday's video we had started the lesson matter in our surrounding, and we discussed particle nature of matter. Now after understanding of particle nature of matter, we can distinguish the three states of matter, that is solid, liquid and gas. Matter is classified on the basis of physical characteristic and on the basis of chemical characteristic. In this lesson, as I have told you earlier, we will classify matter on the basis of its physical characteristics. On the basis of physical characteristic, matter is classified as solid, liquid and gas. Now while discussing these states, their characteristics, we will encounter certain terms whose knowledge is important. So let us clear those terms that we shall discuss while comparing the three states of matter. Let's see what are they. Diffusion. What happens when a scent bottle is opened in a room? In no time, the sweet odor, the pleasant smell of the scent is spread through the air, and you can detect this sweet odor from distance. Here we can say that the particles of the scent have diffused through the air. Now what does this diffusion mean? You know, in the liquid and in gaseous state, the particles move. And this movement is more evident in the gaseous state. Since the particles in this state have more kinetic energy, therefore they move and intermix or intermingle with the particles of other substance. This phenomena of intermixing or intermingling the particle of one substance with those of another is called diffusion. When an incense stick, agarbatti, is lighted, its smell is spread through the air because the particles of the incense stick diffuse through the air. So diffusion is the phenomena of intermixing or intermingling of particle of one substance with those of another substance. Obviously, this phenomena depend on the kinetic energy of the particles and also on the gaps between the particles. So since in liquid state and in gaseous state there are more interparticle spaces, and particularly in gases the particles have more kinetic energy, so they readily diffuse, बहुत आसानी से जल्दी से डिफ्यूज हो जाती है. Moreover, kinetic energy depends on the temperature. Therefore, if the temperature increases, the rate of diffusion also increases. And you would have observed that the order of hot food reaches to a distance as compared to the cold food. अगर खाना गर्म हो तो उसकी खुशबू दूर तक पहुंच जाती है, लेकिन ठंडे खाने की सुगंध दूर तक नहीं पहुंचती। क्यों? क्योंकि जब खाना गर्म होता है तो पार्टिकल्स जो होते हैं they are at higher temperature and they have more kinetic energy, and therefore they diffuse rapidly as compared to the particles which are at low temperature. The second term that we shall encounter in this lesson is compressibility. You know that the particles in gaseous state have large interparticle gaps. And when pressure is applied, the interparticle gap between these particles can be reduced. This property of the gases, by virtue of which the interparticle gaps, the interparticle force, interparticle spaces between the particle can be reduced by applying pressure, is called compressibility. So gases are easily compressed because in gaseous state the particles have large interparticle gaps. But in solid and liquid state, as the particles are very close and they cannot be brought further closer, the gases, the liquid and the solid cannot be compressed. And you are all familiar that this property of the gases, that they are compressible, is used in LPG cylinders. The liquefied petroleum gas is stored in the compressed state in liquid form in small cylinders. Similarly, compressed natural gas CNG and compressed oxygen is stored and transported in cylinders to hospitals. Now, after the knowledge of the diffusion and the compressibility, we can discuss the three states of the matter and their characteristics. Let's see. First of all, we shall discuss the property of the solids. Matter in solid state have definite shape and volume. Can you explain why solids have definite shape and volume? In solid state, the particles are very close. They are compactly arranged. And the interparticle forces of attraction between these particles are very strong. And obviously these interparticle forces of attraction do not allow these particles to move freely. And it is due to these strong interparticle forces of attraction, solids have definite shape and definite volume. सॉलिड का शेप डेफिनेट होता है क्योंकि सॉलिड स्टेट में पार्टिकल एक दूसरे के बहुत क्लोज होते हैं और वो बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग इंटरपार्टिकल फोर्सेस से बंधे हुए होते हैं और ये स्ट्रॉन्ग पार्टिकल फोर्सेस उनको अलाउ नहीं करते कि वो मूव करें एंड ऑन अकाउंट ऑफ दिस solids have definite shape and definite volume. Now some students argue that a sponge is solid, yet it can be compressed easily, so it does not have definite shape. So actually a sponge is porous in nature. It has pores which are filled with the air. When pressure is applied, the air present in these pores is withdrawn and the gaps between or pockets of the air can be compressed. So in solid state, a substance or matter has definite shape and volume and it cannot be compressed. A sponge can be compressed because it has air spaces between them. Solids do not flow. This property is called fluidity. In solid state, different layers of the molecules or particles are bonded strongly, and these layers cannot slide one above the other. Solid state में जो layers होती हैं particles की, वो एक strong interparticle forces से बंधी होती हैं और ये interparticle forces उनको एक दूसरे के ऊपर slip होने या slide होने से रोकते हैं. And on account of this, the solids do not flow. Solids flow नहीं होते. Solids cannot be compressed. In solid state, the particles are already very close to each other and they cannot be brought further closer by applying pressure. Solid state में पार्टिकल पहले ही से एक दूसरे के बहुत पास होते हैं और प्रेशर लगा करके उनको और पास में नहीं लाया जा सकता. Therefore, solid cannot be compressed. Solid को compress नहीं किया जा सकता. Solids have high density. Now the question arises, what is this density? Density is defined as the mass of unit volume of a substance. किसी भी सब्सटेंस के यूनिट वॉल्यूम के मास को उसकी डेंसिटी कहते हैं. एंड ऑब्वियसली द डेंसिटी डिपेंड्स ऑन द पैकिंग ऑफ पार्टिकल्स. सिंस इन सॉलिड स्टेट द पार्टिकल्स आर पैक्ड वेरी क्लोज एज कंपेयर टू द लिक्विड और इन गैस. Therefore, the mass of given volume of a solid is always greater than the mass of given volume of liquid or gas. तो किसी भी substance का density, किसी भी substance की density solid state में अधिक होती है, लिक्विड की डेंसिटी कम होती है और गैसेस की डेंसिटी सबसे कम होती है. बट देयर इज एन एक्सेप्शन. and this exception is of that of water. Ice is solid state, yet its density is less than the water. आइस वाटर की सॉलिड स्टेट है, लेकिन आइस की डेंसिटी वाटर से कम होती है. दैट इज व्हाई आइस फ्लोट ऑन द सरफेस ऑफ वाटर. यही कारण है कि बर्फ जो है पानी के ऊपर तैरता है. एंड द रीजन बिहाइंड दैट इज इन आइस water molecules have air gaps. They have gaps between them which are filled with air. And it is due to these air gaps, the density or the mass of the ice is less as compared to the water, same volume of the water. तो सॉलिड स्टेट के अंदर आइस जो है उसकी डेंसिटी वाटर से कम होती है, क्योंकि सॉलिड स्ट्रक्चर के अंदर आइस के क्या होते हैं, कुछ गैप्स होते हैं और उन गैप्स में एयर फिल्ड रहती है और इसी कारण से आइस की डेंसिटी वाटर से कम होती है. डिटेल इज बियॉन्ड योर स्कोप. इससे ज्यादा डिटेल आपको नहीं पढ़नी है, बस इतना समझ लीजिए कि देयर इज एन जनरली a substance in solid state has more density as compared to liquid or gas, but the case of the water is different. Ice, which is solid state of water, has low density as compared to water. So we have discussed some characteristics of solid. Let us recall quickly. Solids have definite shape and volume. Solids do not flow. Solid cannot be compressed. Solid do not flow. And a substance in the solid state has more density as compared to liquid or gas. Finally, the solids usually do not diffuse. This is because in solid state the particles are held together by very strong interparticle forces and the gaps between these particles are very less. So in solid state the particles are unable to diffuse. But the phenomena of the diffusion has been observed when two solids are kept in contact for over a long period of time. For example, in blackboard, the chalk particles diffuse and you can easily observe the chalk particle diffuse in the blackboard. So this is an example where two solids show the phenomena of diffusion. That's all today's. Tomorrow we shall discuss the characteristic of the liquid and gas. Thank you.